Deadpool and Wolverine was released in theaters over the weekend, so I went to go see it because, of course, it was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. So let's review. Deadpool and Wolverine is the third Deadpool movie, and it is the first film with Deadpool that is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the first R-rated film within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Deadpool wants to be a part of something bigger, and so he gets recruited by the TVA because his universe is dying, and so he recruits a Wolverine/Logan from another timeline so that he can save his own. Now, if you've been watching my reviews of the first two Deadpool movies, you know I love those movies. I think the first one is the best. I thought the second film was a worthy sequel, but the charm of those movies mainly came from Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. He is perfect as that character. He's one of those actors that he owns that character. But the charm of those movies is also the R rating for those movies. But Disney bought Fox, and so now all the Marvel movies that were under the Fox banner are now a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and everybody, myself included, was worried about whether or not Deadpool was going to maintain the R-rated vibe, or it was going to be Disneyfied under the Disney umbrella. Then they announced that Hugh Jackman would be coming out of retirement to reprise his role as Wolverine, to which a lot of people, myself included as well, was worried that they would undo the ending, the beautiful send-off that they gave him in Logan. But I'm here to tell you that they do not do that, and I'm also here to tell you that not only Deadpool maintains its R rating, but it was a pretty awesome movie. Now, in terms of where this movie stands with me with the first two films, I still think the first movie is still the best, but I think this just might be the second best. But really, all three of them are good. I think this might just go down as one of the best trilogies in which all three of them were good. Even if some of them have flaws, I really enjoyed all three of these films, and Deadpool and Wolverine is a welcome addition to the Deadpool canon. Now, let me get some of my negatives out the way. I think really my only real gripe about this movie is just some of the story structure. I mean, it does feel like this is one of those movies that just goes from scene to scene, and then it kind of drags on a little bit until something interesting happened, and that may be due to the movie being put on hold during production because of all the strikes. And this movie did have some reshoots, but whatever they went through during the production of this movie, it was definitely worth it because this was still an entertaining movie. Like I said, Ryan Reynolds, he still shines as Deadpool/Wade Wilson, and we do get appearances from other characters from those first movies, and I guess I'll say that is a bit of a negative of mine, is that those characters that we were introduced to in the first two Deadpool movies, like Vanessa, Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Dopinder, all of Deadpool's chosen family, they all take a backseat for Deadpool and Wolverine, and just to make this movie basically the No Way Home for the Fox Marvel movies. And you know what, that's fine, and even still, they do some character work for Vanessa, because they do, in a way, progress their relationship in a way that makes sense, but they still come back together in the end. Like I said, everybody was worried about Hugh Jackman coming out of retirement as Wolverine, but like I said, this is a different version of the character that he is playing. And he even wears the yellow suit that everybody has been waiting over 20 years to see, and it's finally here, and I can even say he does look awesome in this suit. And even if Hugh Jackman is playing a different version of Wolverine, he still manages to make you care about the character, because Wolverine, no matter what version you like, he deals with a lot of shit. The TVA makes an appearance in this movie from the Loki TV series. Well, it's part of the plot of the movie, but it doesn't overtake the movie. It's just there as a plot device. And really shout out to Kevin Feige and crew in Marvel Studios for letting Deadpool maintain its R rating. I think a lot of people are worried about whether or not all the Fox Marvel stuff would get Disneyfied now that Disney bought Fox, but I'm glad that Disney and Marvel had the good sense to realize, like, no, Fox had a good thing going with Deadpool, let's not fuck with that. The meta humor in this movie is just on par with the first two movies, and in fact, Deadpool makes meta jabs at Disney, the current state of superhero movies, and even other studios, if you know what I mean. They even make a jab at Fox, but more importantly, like I said, this movie is basically the Spider-Man No Way Home for the Fox Marvel movies, and this movie really was a love letter to that bygone era of Marvel movies. And even though a lot of things didn't get resolved in some of those movies, this movie did give us some closure to not seeing these characters ever again. I gotta mention the soundtrack because clearly they took a page out of James Good's book for all the needle drops. In fact, there's one in particular needle drop in the beginning that made my heart sing, and if you've seen the movie, you know what it is, and if you haven't seen the movie, go see it, and once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Sean Levy, who is the director of this movie and who's been primarily known for making more friendly stuff. Then he got Stranger Things, and then he made some other things after that, and it's all culminated into this movie right here. Also, the action in this movie is insane. I expected there to be some good fights between Deadpool and Wolverine, and they did not disappoint. In fact, there's one in the movie that takes place entirely in a car, and that was the best one to me. Do I think this is the best of the Deadpool movies? Not necessarily, but do I think it's a worthy entry into this trilogy now? Hell yes, and this movie did not disappoint as being one of my most anticipated movies of the year. There's so much I want to say about this movie, but I'm gonna have to save that for a spoiler review. But for right now, I'm gonna give Deadpool and Wolverine the hard eyes emoji.